Hello, my name is Tom Palmer and I am a children's author. I write books such as this series, the Football Academy series, and also the Foul Play series, which are published by Puffin Books, and also various stories set around history, like this is about books about footballers who fought in the First World War. But I'm talking to you today about Pitch Invasion, which is my latest book. And this is a story that's kind of got two strands that run through it. One of the strands is a boy called Seth and his friend Nadia, and they solve hauntings from history. So in other books in the series, they solve a Roman haunting and a Viking haunting, and in this one it's an Iron Age haunting. And the children, the two children, see figures from the past, from the Iron Age, being driven west towards Cornwall and into Wales, away from the Roman invasion. And so it's kind of a story about Iron Age refugees, really. And I wanted to tie that in with the situation which children hear about now, which is refugees, particularly coming from countries such as Syria. So I wanted to tie the two ideas together, that we think of Iron Age people in the past moving around Britain, but now we need to think about people from Syria moving away from hideous, horrible situations such as the war that's been going on in their country for many years, and how when they come to this country, that if we can, we should offer them sanctuary and take them to be part of our country, as this country has for many years, and I very much hope it will for years to come. Anyway, I wanted to read to you chapters 10 and 11 from Pitch Invasion, which kind of gives you an idea about the story. So I suppose the background is Seth has been witnessing hauntings on an Iron Age hill fort at a Cornish village, and that he also meets two Syrian boys. Anyway, I'll read it to you. Daylight was fading fast as Seth watched Rosa, his dog, climb the bank and disappear ahead of him in pursuit of two boys. He scrambled after his dog, not sure what he would see or do when he caught up with her. At the top, Seth found Rosa rolling on her back. One of the two boys he'd seen was laughing as he scratched the dog's tummy. The other boy, a ball under his arm, was staring back at Seth. Seth recognised them. They were the boys from the harbour earlier that night. "Hi," Seth said, watching Rosa. Weird, he thought. His dog was behaving in the way she only did with him. She was completely relaxed, playful even, but she'd only just met this boy. "I am Dollop," the older boy said in reply. "This is my brother, Alan." "And I'm Seth," Seth said, wondering where the boy's accent might be from. Do you live here in Port Scatho?" Seth asked, "or are you on holiday?" Dollop smiled and stepped forward. He put his hand out. It was a bit strange shaking hands with another boy, but it felt nice too, friendly. "We have come here from Syria," Dollop said. "We have settled in a house here." He pointed back to the village. Then the two boys looked at Alan, who was now lying on the floor with Rosa, laughing as both of them rolled around on the grass. "Is this your dog?" "Yes," Seth laughed. Then, speaking to Alan, he said, "I've never seen Rosa like this, like someone so much as she likes you." Then he glanced at Gallop's football, still under his arm. "Do you play football?" he asked the boy. Dollop nodded. "We like Real." He opened a zip off his hoodie to show the yellow and blue circle of the Real Madrid crest. "I support Halifax Town," Seth told him. Dollop looked confused for a moment, then nodded. "They are a good team?" Seth laughed. Then he said, "Sometimes, yes." Seth looked back at Rose and Alan again. They were still playing some daft game. "Do you play football on the pitch there?" Seth said. "By the hill fort?" Dollop shook his head, then stared at the hill fort. "No, not there. On the beach." "Oh," Seth said. "OK." He really wanted to ask Dollop why not. "It is dark." Dollop stared west on the horizon. "We must go home. Alan, come." Dollop put his hand out to Seth and they shook hands again. "Come to the beach tomorrow," Dollop suggested. "We play football." "Yes," Seth said, "I will." Then the two boys were gone, swallowed up by the night. Seth glanced at the hill fort, and he knew he should be getting back to the farm where his mother was. If she woke up, she'd expect him to be there. Chapter 11. As Seth approached the farm, he noticed a figure crouched down at the top of the track, excuse me, partly hidden by the hedge that lined the road. Seth slowed down, cautious. The 5 heads that had scared the hell out of him back at the hill fort. Sorry, I just need to interject there. So he's being haunted by 5 heads on stakes, a bit like that, which were kind of what they used to do in Iron Age times. They used to put their enemies on heads on stakes, as I'm sure many of you know, and 5 of these heads are following Seth around and haunting him. So that's a bit of background. Seth slowed down, cautious. The 5 heads had scared the hell out of him back at the hill fort. Rosa sensed his hesitation, peered into the dark, then gave a short bark. Seth, a friendly voice called back. Hello. It was Tim the farmer, who owned the cottages. Now that Seth was closer, he could see the farmer was fixing a gate, putting it back on its hinge. Nice evening, Tim said. Been for a walk? Seth gazed at the small farmhouse with roses round the door, at the barns that had been converted into holiday cottages, one of which he was staying in. I thought I'd visit the hill fort, he replied. Give Rosa a run. She's a good dog, Tim said, ruffling Rosa's head. Seth paused in case Tim said anything about the fort, but he didn't. I met a couple of boys, Seth volunteered. Dollop and Alan. Now it was Tim's turn to hesitate. Nice lads, Tim said. From Syria. That's right, Seth said. They had a football with them. They're going to have a kickabout with me tomorrow. Football, the farmer said. I'm surprised. When Seth didn't reply, Tim said, they have quite a story behind them, those lads. What do you mean? Seth asked. They lived in Syria, Tim explained. Both their parents were teachers. Then the war started, and this is terrible. Their mother was killed in a bombing raid. Their house was destroyed, everything they owned gone, their dog too, Tim said with a glance at Rosa. They were driven from their land by the government there. Seth was speechless. So their dad took them away, Tim went on. They crossed the land border to Turkey, then over the sea in a boat. Imagine, I expect you've seen in the news stories about families crossing the Mediterranean. Seth croaked. Yes. Their boat capsized, Tim said. The 2 boys were rescued by Greek fishermen. There was no sign of their... Tim stopped, as if he couldn't bring himself to say the final, horrible part of the boys' tragedy. The night was quiet. Rosa lifted her nose to the sound of flapping wings as a pair of ducks circled the farm. They ended up in that camp in Calais, Tim went on. Then a charity brought them over to the UK. They were lucky. Thousands of children didn't make it. You know that. Some of it, Seth admitted. They've come to live with a couple in Port Scatho, here. But the whole village has taken them in, really. They're at school here. They've joined the Scouts. They're lovely lads. After all they've lost. But did you say they like football? Yes, Seth said. That's strange, Tim said. Because up to now they've refused to join the football club. I mean, they play at school. They're good, very good. But they won't go near the Round Hill ground, near the hill fort. My sister's the coach for the youth teams there, and the brothers just aren't interested. Seth frowned. Why was that? He wondered, remembering how the boys had been on the edge of the football ground, but not on it. But Tim was packing his tools away, checking the hinge of the gate. I'm sorry, he said. I've kept you. You better go and check up on your mum. So that's 2 chapters from Pitch Invasion, and the story very much links the ghosts of the Iron Age fort and who were refugees, obviously, and the ghosts, not the ghosts, sorry, the 2 Syrian boys who were refugees in the modern day. And what I've tried to do in the story is I don't know, draw parallels or just put the 2 stories next to each other. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. I hope that reading was okay, and thank you very much, and speak to you soon.